Now to our final team, our number 8 for the playoffs, North Carolina FC, where the fans had them ninth. And when you look at the names on the paper, you really love what you see. But what did they lose and what did they gain?
Oh, you're looking at me. Honestly, they did not lose that much. Like Lamar Batista's out to Tulsa. Right now, Louis Perez and Justin Malou are kind of in the nether zone of we might resign them, we might not. In terms of the gains, Tristan Hodge and Connor Donovan are coming into the back line. Patrick Berner, a really fascinating one on the right. Couple of college kids, but then the star is, of course, Pedro Dolabella coming in from Union Omaha into the midfield, the attack, wherever you want to be using them.
Ryan, one of the first things we got in one of our comments was North Carolina fans just kind of saying, why so low when all we've done is just add to a team that's made the playoffs? Is it that they haven't done enough, or is it just that the East has done so much?
Yeah, it's interesting just kind of bringing up some of the comments. Zach had I guess, quoted us on Blue Sky, just mentioning that we might be looking back on this North Carolina team as someone we might be particularly low on. Especially interesting that a team who we say only made the playoffs in the AC, they still had a plus 11 goal differential in the postseason from last year. And to keep your front three of Anderson, who contributed 13 goals from last season, Evan Conway, DaCosta, adding in Pedro Dolabella alongside other players in defense with Connor Donovan, Tristan Hodge, and Paco Gregg, who is a very long-time USL stalwart. I really think just knowing what we see from everyone else in the league, like Louisville or Charleston, who's just more visible, that North Carolina has almost simply just flown under the radar, that they are adding players to this team. It's just maybe there just isn't enough attention given to this North Carolina side that just brought it to just kind of the more broader audience, if you will.
So, John, I was going to ask you, and this is where Menzigan and Armstrong, are they wing backs? Are they midfielders? Like they kind of blur the line, mostly wing backs though. If you want to look at a midfield of Armstrong, Delabella, Martin, and Menzigan, I think you're going to be hard pressed to find a better like kind of midfield four than this team in the East. Am I being too high on this team because I just love Ezra Armstrong?
Not at all. I mean, Armstrong was second team all league for a reason. Like we were talking about him constantly, but he was unbelievable at left wing back for that team. Like I don't think I've seen a player cover that much ground getting from end to end in my life. You think about Colin Martin as kind of the anchor of it all. Obviously, Dolabella, he might start in the central midfield, in which case, like, sure, amazing. He's terrific at finding the balance between kind of doing the defensive duty, but then stepping up as a number 10. Equally likely to see Mikey Maldonado, who was quietly like a really productive player going both ways. Obviously, we love Menzigan as well, somebody who's been around the block in the USL. The addition of Patrick Berner makes that a contested spot in my estimation. Berner, I think, is a Martinique international, somebody with almost 10,000 minutes in Ligue 1 in his career. Like the pedigree for him is legit. He can kind of play up and down the right side, much in the same way as Armstrong. But you think about that top level quality and the depth in the midfield, really impressive for this team.
Ryan, when you look at the front three, when you look at the back three, when you look at a Conway, Anderson, DaCosta, when you look at a Hodge, Donovan, Craig, and even McGuire, these are names that have been around the USL for a long time. Like these are big, good USL names. But except for Anderson, most of the time when you have your name known in the USL as a USL guy, you're starting to get on the wrong side of your career. Is that the case here, or do you still see more very highly productive seasons from those players?
I would still have faith that having at least the full season together under their belt as a team and being able to keep that core is going to be massive for the side moving forward. Or you had Ulrich Anderson and Evan Conway really chipping in a lot of goals from this side for last season, that kind of bringing back that same core this year. I feel like it's just having consistency that you rarely ever see from USL, especially from a team that was just kind of at the edge of the playoff picture, or that there's a chance they could definitely build upon what they had from last season.
Any final thoughts on this North Carolina team before we move on?
Yeah, I don't know what I put in our survey because the preseason is what it is. Things are changing.
Yeah.
Right now, gun to my head, North Carolina gets a home playoff game.
I said the same thing last year. I thought that
We were high on North Carolina.
I still, when I was kind of looking at the roster, filling out my survey, I was kind of looking at other teams and just kind of, looking at rosters, feeling the vibes. But the more I look at this team, the more I really love it.
Yeah.
But hey, if you want to know more about this team, it is a 3-4-3, slightly different than the 3-2 or 3-2-5 or whatever 5-2-3. I can't speak anymore. All right, you have McGuire in net, Hodge, Donovan, and Craig making up the center back pairing. You have Armstrong on the left, Dolabella Martin in the center, and Minskin on the right, and the wing back spots. And then you have Conway DaCosta on the left and the right, and you have Alaka Anderson up top in a 3-4-3.